One time, this man approached me in a bar talking in Spanish, so I assumed he was Spanish, and we started speaking. We had a whole ass conversation, and at some point he was like, "So what part of Spain are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm Italian, actually. What part of Spain are you from?" And he was like, "I'm Greek." One time I was in Argentina and I was so tired of trying to speak Spanish because I'm not very good at it, Lamau, so I broke into exasperated English and the retail seller girl quickly understood me and engaged me in conversation. We talked for a while, she introduced me to a makeup brand, and then I decided to buy it. While she was packaging the purchase, she asked me if I was from the US or perhaps the UK, and I just said, "Oh no, I'm Brazilian, haha," and she looked me straight in the eyes and said in clear Portuguese, "I'm Brazilian too. I don't want to hurt you, Carmen. You're so full of shiitake mushrooms. Skeletons oohing." Was this movie real? I don't know what this movie is. The more I learn about the British government, the more it sounds like the setting for a generic YA dystopia. What the hell is a shadow cabinet? Are they not evil? There's something called a chief whip? A Lord Commissioner of the Great Seal? Does he keep the Dark One locked away? Today I learned humans are bioluminescent and glow in the dark, but the light that we emit is 1,000 times weaker than our human eyes are able to pick up. Forget every product from the beauty industry. I want to know how to increase my natural bioluminescence. Vladimir Sirov, The Worker, 1960, and The Builder, 1964. She's winding up to slap his ass. Buenos dias, Mandy. It's wild that virtually all modern digital infrastructure is built to constantly spy on us and harvest our data for advertising, yet online advertising is still basically worthless and nobody seems to actually be benefiting from all this. A vast Rube Goldberg machine of privacy violations all working together to deliver the most precisely targeted ads straight to my ad blocker. Shout out ad blockers, especially the ones that work. I, for one, do not want to stop wearing a mask. I often wander around stores slack-jawed and dead-eyed in amazement like a caveman who has just been released from a glacier, and it's a little less scary to the other patrons if they can't see my mouth. Under the mask, I'm like... Whenever I win in a video game, I say to myself like, "Woo, get fucked, nerd, Lamau, you're trash," and then just type GG to them. FYI, whenever I lose in a video game, I'm like, "Fuck off, you piece of shit, asshole," and then I type GG anyways. This is to the guy in the electronics department at Walmart who, when I approached and said game, because it was the only word that would come to me, went, "Yeah," and walked me straight to Tears of the Kingdom. No questions asked. Also, I don't know if you guys have ever seen medieval beekeeper garb, but it's the best. This is cursed. I hope it's made up. Nope. Woodcut from 1545. Respect our basket-phased cousins. The Beekeepers. Peter Bruegel the Elder, 1568. Now that plague doctors are cultural icons, I want these to be next, and I hope we arbitrarily decide that the two are somehow rivals. Why would they be rivals? They're dating and bop their masks together to kiss. The Birds and the Bees. Oh my god, look at that art. That's great. Just so we're all on the same page with the writer's strike, if during the writer's strike it's announced about AI-generated shows, we are not watching them. Not even out of curiosity. Let them fail every AI-generated show they try to make. The human voice cannot be replaced by AI. Don't let them try. No hate watching. No fucking hate watching. Amen to that one. People who sleep without socks on make me worry. People who sleep with socks on are not to be trusted. People who sleep are weird. I was a sock once. What do you mean by that? Only one truck driver per shower. Management. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 2023. You're telling me that I, as a truck driver, I'm not, can't have a shower with my other truck driver buddies? I don't have truck driver buddies. I don't think the Joker chemicals really did all that when he fell in. I think he just wanted an excuse to be like that. Joker. The Joker chemicals made me crazy. Arkham Doctor. That was a mild detergent. Hee-hee-wah-wee. There was a big drug problem at my school, so they hired a police officer to supervise the students, but now he's playing Magic the Gathering with the video game club. Y'all, imagine if past lives were something commonly acknowledged and something you could actually remember. But the thing is, high infant mortality throughout the course of human history would mean that most of those lives would be so brief that your mother in this particular life wouldn't even give you a name before you die of diarrhea. So your memories of past lives would be like toddler death, toddler death, toddler death. Hey, cool, I was a blacksmith. Toddler death, toddler death, toddler death. I was a carpenter. Toddler death, toddler death, toddler death. The infamous
Luigi not happy.
Bishop, toddler death, polio, lead poisoning, present day. People don't fear death because they don't know what's happening. They just hate having to go back into the stupid loop of kill yourself and die speedrun until they manage to survive adulthood again. Could you imagine if people talked about Catholicism the same way they talk about, like, indigenous people's religions? Girl in horror movie holding a Bible open. According to legend, legend. A mob tortured a half-man, half-god and nailed him to a wooden cross, leaving him to starve to death. But days later, on this very night, they found he had clawed his way out of the grave. Now those who believe lie and wait for him to rise again. To honor him, they have weekly gatherings where they chant and sing, and at the end of it, they eat his flesh and blood. Girl's friend, wow, that's so creepy. Horror movie jock, it's only a myth, don't worry. I love the fact that this is insinuating that Jesus is going to try to kill these kids. I'd watch that movie, I'm just saying. To kill a French vampire, you need to drive a baguette through its heart. Sounds easy, but the process is painstaking. Multilingual jokes are my favorite. I have stored this away forever. Downside, going to have to include a picture of the Giza pyramids in the slides for the lecture. Upside, I get to give people a crash course in why perspective matters in 2 frames because this image, followed by this, is such a funny sequence. I find most people who haven't seen it in person don't know that Cairo is right there. I loved these perspectives, so I took some of my own when I was in Cairo, and yeah, they're literally just right there. Pass them on your way to work, no big deal. No, y'all don't even understand. There is literally a Pizza Hut across the street from the pyramids. That Pizza Hut, among other things, is why Egyptologists laugh their asses off when we see another piece of media where the protagonists get lost in the desert near the pyramids, because it's like, just turn around, my dudes, you're only a 7-minute walk away from the nearest fast food shop. Don't let people tell you your attraction to fire is abnormal or hazardous. Prometheus doesn't have his liver eaten every day for you to ignore the allure of arson. Nobody in the world, nobody in history, has ever gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of the people who were oppressing them. I love that it's Pikachu saying this, because Pikachu attained freedom by electrocuting the fuck out of Ash and outright refusing to get into the fucking Pokeball. A breeder in Netherlands has been working to make the French Bulldog, quote, healthier breed. My god, they actually look like dogs now. Breeder, you know what? This. Unselectives you're breeding. What if the toys in Toy Story went to a Catholic woman's house and all of her figurines of crucified Jesus started screaming out in endless pain whenever she left the room? Well, that is something to think about. We need to go back to using sailing ships full-time, like immediately. Yes, it would take longer to get places, but the aesthetic is unmatched. Like, there is nothing sexier than this. Can't wait for OP to get scurvy. Are you under the impression that the ships themselves are what caused scurvy? Weren't these ships used for colonizing India and the slave trade? Once again, do you think this is the fault of the ships themselves? Hashtag Tumblr users will try to make any ship problematic. Yeah, at first I was like, I don't know, man, how about those traveling conditions? But like, back then, those sailors didn't have freezers or bottled water. So, you know, I think we could use these ships, but it'd take forever, but it'd be a lot safer. We should start doing Ancient Aliens conspiracies, but for buildings that aren't even that old or impressive. No humans could make an apartment this complex. It's De Niro's Poppin' Platforms Monday. What the f did you just say? Mr. De Niro, it's an honor to have you here. Character has frost powers. Me. Your backstory is family-related trauma, isn't it? Frost powers. Family trauma. Fire powers. Electric powers. Rebellious. Earth powers. Mean or dumb. Nature powers. Social outcast. Water powers. Nice but pretentious. Psychic powers. White girl. What is Frozone's family trauma? His wife put away his super suit. Also, like 10 to 15 years from now, I hope someone makes one of those inspirational sports movies, except it's a 50-year-old woman who wants to play competitive online games, and everyone tells her she can't because she's too old, her reflexes are too slow, etc., and she gets this grizzled trainer, except they're a 19-year-old kid who had a promising career until carpal tunnel syndrome ruined their chances of becoming the world champion, so they train her and she fucking wins. The end. Movie of the year. The Grandmaster. You're both hired. Standing up and blacking out for a few seconds is just transitioning from a cutscene to the actual gameplay. You motherfuckers need to eat salt is what that means. Me, at 3 a.m., in the middle of yet another personal crisis, I need to learn 2 instruments, 1 craft, and 5 languages immediately. My favorite Bible story is when instead of telling women to dress modestly, Jesus tells his dudes to avoid lust by plucking their eyes out. My man Jesus. What story is that? Matthew 18:9. And if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. Jesus, how can I avoid sin when all these hussies keep revealing the fact that they have bodies? Tough call, bro. Have you tried gouging your eyes out so you don't have to see all those bodies anymore? What? Shouldn't you tell them to stop dressing like that or something? Don't see why. It's not their fault that the fact that they have bodies makes you fucking sinful, horn dog. Gotta fix that problem yourself, buddy. Go on, blind yourself. Or learn to keep it in your goddamn pants no matter what they're wearing. Remember in 1993 when Jurassic Park was like the end-all be-all of special effects? Not gonna lie, that still looks intimately real. Well, in that shot specifically, it is real. It's a puppet. I'm still somewhat convinced that someone sold their soul to create the special effects in Jurassic Park because that shit is over 20 years old and it still really, really holds up. Better than the stuff in a lot of current movies even. Fucking witchcraft, man. Keep in mind, special effects does not mean digital effects. Special effects is everything. Practical, digital, mix of both. That's what Jurassic Park did beautifully. They had CG when they absolutely could not do it in camera. That's how you do it right there. This is beautiful. It truly symbolizes the simplicity between life and death, good and evil, right and wrong, but in the end, it's still our paths that we take in our own, hearts that we hold in our hands. Truly a masterpiece. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. What city slickers don't understand is that weird noises always come from the forest and we just ignore it. If you go out to investigate and then get got, that is on you. Ignore it and go back to sleep like a rational person. The weird noises are always in the forest. They don't come out of the forest and knock on your door. It's only polite not to go into their home without being invited. Yeah, absolutely. Leave them the hell alone and they'll do the same. Usually. Adults trying to stay hip and keep up with youth culture and being years late is so cringy. Adult secret, it's all intentional. Nothing will prepare you for how fun it is to watch a teenager's face as you dab at them. I will floss when they least expect it and I will love every second of their horror. Fond memories of how one of my shipmates would very earnestly ask the youngest deckhand, "Was that yeet? Was that a yeet?" every time he tossed the dock lines. These wrestling referees may look cute, but they're actually very unhealthy. They're bred for their counting ability, but decades of irresponsible breeding have diminished their other senses and they generally have a poor quality of life. The American Kennel Association is working on creating a new breed of referees with better vision and hearing, so you should consider adopting one of those for your wrestling promotion instead. When it was discovered that all alien civilizations were destroyed by eldritch gods, we wondered why they hadn't done the same to us. Then we learned that the human mind can drive an eldritch god insane. We saw Cthulhu and Mothman and started thinking about ways to f*** them. What did you expect? The assassin you sent after me is part of my found family now. Shrek 2, Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Avatar. This trope is a trope I didn't know was a trope. One of my favorite human quirks is when the power goes out and you're with other people, and inevitably someone says, "Did the power go out?" Like, you're all sitting there in the dead dark, TV black, Wi-Fi gone, lights out, but still they're like, well, I have a theory, but it needs to be submitted for peer review. Me, sitting in my dark room after everything short-circuited. I can't be certain, but I don't think this is how it was a moment ago.
The last thing you'd want to find in your Burger King burger is someone else's Burger King burger.
I still think one of the funniest experiences in my life was watching American Psycho with my sister, and afterwards we both went, okay, let's do something more lighthearted now, and put on the dubbed version of Howl's Moving Castle, and we both lost our minds when we heard Howl start talking. I always forget Christian Bale voiced Howl in the English dub. Like, what other animation has he voiced for? I can't picture him in the booth, you know? Wheel of Fortune. Puzzle, H-E blank blank O. Category, greeting. Contestants, spins. Wheel, 5,000. Contestant L, Pat, no L. This is a horror novel. No phone. I did not miss a call. I watched it ring the whole time. You should know that phone with the camera pointing right at my face all the time. Marvel's dedication to portraying J. Jonah Jameson as a complex three-dimensional character with likable traits and sympathetic qualities is really funny because it's led to the creation of a character who unfailingly stands for truth and integrity in journalism, except for this one specific dude he is absolutely convinced is putting chemicals in the water to turn the frogs gay. Not gonna lie, one of my favorite parts about writing urban fantasy is determining how and where the fantasy meshes in with reality. Like, I'm not saying Freddie Mercury was a siren, but have you ever heard anyone not sing along to Bohemian Rhapsody? I rest my case. It is a 6-minute song with incomprehensible lyrics that seem to have something to do with murder and demons, with 5 sections that are completely different stylistically but no chorus. It was the #1 of the UK singles chart twice, 15 years apart, and is by many measures one of the most popular or the most popular single of all time. Yeah, there's magic involved. And an absurdly broad swathe of people know it, and I have no memory of learning it. Do you? It's so weird, that last comment. Like, you're right. I knew Bohemian Rhapsody before before I even knew what the name of the song was. I just knew it. The knowledge was there. It was that song with the Galileos. I hate when female is the only grammatically correct term for woman in a sentence because I literally feel like an incel. My female manager is shorter than my manager who is a woman, but at what cost? My girl boss. Well, now I know it could be worse. Albino raccoon. I didn't know those existed. Quick, spot the main character. It's so weird how much of a raccoon's raccoonness is tied up in its pattern. This looks like a completely different animal, some sort of weird marsupial. Yeah, I thought that was like a possum or some It can be difficult to understand just how routine-oriented cats can be if you've never owned one. If my oven timer goes off and I'm slow responding to it, my cats will run and fetch me and lead me right to it, because the beepy thing means the human is supposed to go into the kitchen and they are the only ones around here who gives a damn about the rules. One night my partner decided to stay up and play video games whilst I got an early night, and the cat responded to this by running from the bedroom to the living room yelling, because only one human had gone to bed, and so is it bedtime or not, humans? Make up your minds, this is no way to run a household. Every 21st century piece of writing advice. Make us care about the character from page 1. Make us empathize with them. Make them interesting and different, but still relatable and likable. Every piece of classic literature. Hi, it's me, the bland everyman whose only purpose is to tell you this story. I have no actual personality. Here's the story of the time I encountered the worst people I've ever met in my life. But first, 10 pages of description about the place in which I met them. Modern writing advice. Yes, your protagonist should have flaws, but ultimately we should root for them and like them from the beginning. Charles Dickens. Here's the worst, ugliest, rudest, meanest, nastiest bitch you've ever met in your life. My favorite band is the Beatles. I fucking hate the Beatles. Junji Ito and Hayao Miyazaki. The world if your favorite band is the Beatles. The world if you fucking hate the Beatles. No, but Tolkien hated the Beatles too, and that confirms the theory. I love the Beatles. I hate the Beatles. Apparently, Doki Doki Literature Club is one of those just fucking play it and read nothing about it games, so I'll probably check that out. About an hour in and I'm super intrigued. It's obviously foreshadowing something, but the poems are really fucking good. I think I share a lot of similar writing ideologies with this game. Oh no, I don't think you do. Amazon, a picnic table with seats, and then a trash can. Amazon thinks I'm a national park. If they rebooted Austin Powers, it would either be the most tone-deaf, unfunny, incredibly offensive movie in years, or they'd do it right and really keep with the times and being very self-aware, and it would be one of the best films in decades. Austin Powers would be a massive supporter of trans rights because trans women means more women for him to shag. Oh, your pronouns are she, they? Well, baby, let me she them titties shagadelic, baby, yeah! Austin Powers discovers bisexuality, and it blows his fucking mind. Our boomer trait is going to be that we cannot recognize deep fakes or AI. I'm calling it. We're going to be like, wow, did you see this? And our grandkids are going to look at the 12-second hologram we showed them, shrug and be like, blinks are too regular. I'm going to be chewing out some kid for being rude to a customer service employee on a call, and they'll be like, they weren't breathing. Why are you always wearing that ugly Coca-Cola sweatshirt? You have so many nice clothes. Nestle sold our teacher's code to Coke Emma Colazom, and now we shadow prompt their AI into giving us better grades. But your maths teacher seems so weird and incompetent. I was sure she was human. In case of implosion, look directly at implosion. Valve actually put that sign in game because playtesters would destroy the generator and then turn around immediately and not see the implosion animation they worked so hard on. Soundproof home learning dome. That seems horrible. Can we talk about the bucket with toilet paper next to it? 7 + 4 = 12. Y'all can keep at it with that Romeo and Juliet fell in love in 5 days, how immature she is, but Macbeth went from no murder to yes murder in like one afternoon, and I feel like one of those is a significantly bigger problem than the other. In his defense, his wife triple dog dared him and called him a pussy. It is so strange to me when people tell me they have never had an ancient Egyptian phase, like, what did you even do during your childhood? This is oddly specific, and over 3,000 people relate? That Egyptology book was too golden and shiny to resist. Children, collectively. Crowbrain says shiny and full of secrets, gotta know. No, but this is one of my absolute favorite bits of history. The courtesan was named Phryne, and she was indeed a renowned beauty, and was indeed put on trial for a capital crime. And yes, the sum of her defense consisted of her stripping in court, held by her lover and defendant, asking the jury, all males, if they were prepared to destroy this. But this is actually a very interesting case of values dissonance. The capital crime she was accused of was blasphemy. In ancient Greek society, exceptional beauty was a sign of favor from the gods, and they took the idea that beauty indicated goodness with a great seriousness. They even called their nobles kaloi kaagathoi, I don't know if I said that right, the beautiful and the good. So by showing off her great physical beauty, Phryne was being very clever indeed, her argument essentially being, how could I possibly commit blasphemy if the gods have given me this body? God, I adore history. If these tits are legit, you must acquit. It's f***ed up that only Islam has a cube. Every religion should have a cube. Every religion should have a different platonic solid. There should be a big Shintoism dodecahedron somewhere. The number 87 kinda looks like a plague doctor. You've just changed the fucking game. It does kind of look like one, yeah. Got a really good idea for a D&D character I'll never get to use. You can't say that and not share your idea. It's a talking horse. You'd think this come with some kind of magical backstory about getting turned into one, but turns out they were just born that way. You find out their mother was a centaur, their father is a horse-headed minotaur, and they have a sister who's a perfectly normal human. They're a rogue and thief because nobody ever suspects a horse is the culprit. You're an orc guard in a fully garrisoned and protected fortress 2 miles into a mountain. You're standing post and suddenly you hear a knock outside the door. You know you're not authorized to move from your post, but your curiosity overtakes you and you open the door. A horse is standing there. As your brain races to think of some explanation for the sudden and unexpected presence of this horse, it leans in and whispers, "No one will ever believe you." How many points to intimidation is this worth? Okay, so at QTQ Comics and I are currently apartment hunting for the fall, and I just stumbled upon the weirdest apartment ever. Like, at first, wow, this looks nice. How can it be only $650 a month? Something's gotta be wrong with it. And then you find the floor plan. Like, what the f*** is this place? And you realize it's on bottom of 3 apartment units. Clearly this was meant to be one big place. This is your entrance. Have fun living in the maintenance hallway under the rich folks. It comes with such stunning features as creepy-ass long murder hallways, a room with many doors, all closets, a bathroom that's clearly just meant for storage, and whatever this thing is in your kitchen. Honestly, I'd totally live in this amateur Counter-Striker map's first map. I don't give a shit that the bathroom is in another time zone. It's cheaper than anything around here. This is literally the first level of Hitman 2. Way to basement. Oh my god. What the fuck? What does it all mean? Back when cons were only sort of death traps, my go-to cosplay was Miss Pauling from TF2, because it was quick and easy and I looked cute and she's a good character, and one time a guy dressed as Scout came up to me while I was chilling on the CTC patio and was like, "Hey Miss Pauling, how you doing?" in the Scout voice, and then he fell down the stairs in front of me. If it was guaranteed that you would survive, would you rather explore a black hole or explore the entire ocean? Me in a black hole without being able to see shit because there's no fucking light? Wow, this fucking sucks. Me at the bottom of the ocean without being able to see because there's no fucking light? Wow, this shit fucking sucks.